Welcome to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol. I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetized this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of Host.
This is Matthew Mark Hunter.
I'm Donna Nelly.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared.
All right, greetings, horror fans. It's Wednesday, almost 7 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, that's right.
And welcome to the Season 3 premiere of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast that truly goes bump in the night, not because of scary things. Kicking off our third season, we're covering select films released in horror history, September 26th through October 2nd. Golly, I can't believe we're there already. Damn, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Johnny O, and with me tonight are Eugene and JL.
What's up, everybody? How is it going, everyone?
And taking time out of her extremely busy schedule to join us this week, she's an industry makeup and effects artist from The Sacrifice and Nail Gun. Welcome, Hayley McCutchenson. I just butchered her name. I'm terribly sorry. There she is. I can't see out of this eye very well, so don't be mad at me.
Yeah, it's Haley McCuistion.
There it is. I knew I fucked it up.
Hello.
How's it going?
My apologies.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
And as we can see, Haley, in kind of honor of Cassandra Peterson, and we are talking in one of the movies we'll be talking about is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and she recently had her birthday. Haley has joined us in her best Elvira.
Cassandra
attire.
did, not Haley.
No, Cassandra had her birthday. I'm aware of it.
Yeah. I know, but the way it sounded, it kind of came out weird. I wanted to make sure that nobody. I don't want to. We already fucked up Haley's name. I don't want to age her on the show.
No. You fucked up her name. You fucked up her name. There's a reason I gave you, and there's a reason I gave you that line in the script. You think that was accidental?
So you didn't fuck it up. No, I get
it. because I noticed I was kind of like, yo, I had to say I wrote the script specifically so that line would be on Johnny. So it would be Johnny's responsibility to go and ask Haley, hey, I need to double check how to pronounce your last name, but you never asked her.
Because I didn't read the script.
Really? There's a script?
There's a script? Oh, I just did all that off the top of my head right now.
Oh, but yes. Awesome. This is amazing. Haley, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be awesome. Dang, we had a couple things we got to get to, and then we're going to say hello to whoever's in the chat, let people kind of file in, but we have a couple of things that we need to reveal. This being the season premiere of season 3.
Fine.
No.
Sorry.
No. That's for season 4.
It ain't that kind of horror show.
Look. They all asked when I was going to be in that horror film, so I'm just, I was trying to give them a preview, but whatever.
All right. So the first thing that we're going to share, because we promised, and I've been chomping at the bit to show this thing, is that we are going to unveil the season 3 artwork.
Before we do, I have to say that the JL, shut your mouth.
I didn't say a word.
I have to say that the weather is starting to change, which means it's really getting into the fall, Halloween. My favorite time of year.
It's the best time of year.
Best time of year. So this is a great. I think today is a
time of the year.
It really is. It's an awesome day to start right after the fall equinox. Awesome day to start season 3. So yeah, really looking forward to this.
It's like literally the best. So I love it. You know, going right into these months, we get to kick off a new season every year. It's pretty badass.
It's a good season.
Yeah,
so,
we have good movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what I will do first is, and to let everybody know, with the unveiling of these pictures, of the images you're about to see, with the season 3 cover art, and
cover thine eyes,
the limited edition number 4 T-shirt, which we will be unveiling as well. These shirts are available now on Teespring.
Go get them.
So you can get the limited edition number 4 shirt featuring Eugene's catchphrase, which you guys have been clamoring for so long. Eugene's catchphrase needs to be on his shirt. Well, now it is.
Yep.
It is limited edition shirt number 4. It is available now on Teespring. You can order them there, and you can get them in a variety of colors.
Yeah, lots of different colors.
So it doesn't just have to be the black.
Yep.
And then, of course, here is the artwork for season 3 of Week in Horror.
Well, show the Eugene shirt. We talked.
Well, I'm going to show them both.
I know, but we just talked it up. Like, hey,
I got to bring it up. So here is season 3, the season 3 artwork.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I love that Josh Olsen put this together. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so people can see the detail on this.
Yep.
So we got everybody with the show represented there. Week in Horror Podcast, season 3.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I fucking love this. You know what I really love? Yeah, I love a lot about this, Eugene. Week in Horror.
Yeah, it's a little thing.
Yeah, right. It's the attention. It's the attention to detail that Josh puts in his artwork that really makes it pop.
And of course, you know, like there's Johnny with his Texas Rangers hat.
I was wearing it earlier. I should have left it on.
And the the deer in headlights look he's known for.
Yeah, right. That's the look I'm known for.
But I love this artwork. It is absolutely amazing. He did this. Joshua Olsen popped this out. I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and riff off this, because this image is obviously off of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which was a riff off of The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club set this picture up, and they parodied it. So now we have parodied it with our people. And here you go. So that's the season 3 cover art for the Week in Horror podcast.
No copyright infringement.
None whatsoever. All. And here is the picture for the also done by Joshua Olsen. I can't speak tonight. Here is the image for the limited edition shirt.
Yeah. I like how I like how he's wearing sandals. A la Bill and Ted 2. And then I like where the sickle is. I mean, we all know that's his dick.
So that is the Shit Gets Real limited shirt. Thank you, Joshua Olsen, for doing all of our art. And I love the little Reaper guy in there. It's fantastic. Plus,
I wonder how many people notice that there's no hairy ball sacks all over the place.
They're not hairy ball sacks.
Great. I can't unsee that now.
Yes.
And that particular image looks fantastic. And the variety, the reason I opened up for all the different colors is because it looks really good against a multi, like green, red, blue. It just it works well. It didn't just have to be black. So I wanted to put that out there so everybody can get it in the color that you like. But those are now available at the reduced price on our Teespring, so you can get those now. So those are really awesome. Oh, it's not.
When will then be now?
It's right now.
Soon.
Very good.
It's right now. Right.
Thank
now.
you.
Very good.
We are looking at now.
Love that scene. It's the best
go
scene.
Back to then. We can't. We passed then. When? Just now. When will then be now?
Now.
Soon.
That's such a great scene. It's
Haley's
the best
down there in
scene.
the corner like these.
What the fuck did I get myself into?
Nerds.
I made a mistake.
Let me call my publicist really quick. Get out of here.
Is that like some Arrested Development shit? I've made a huge mistake.
She's gonna have the date ditch call here in a minute. Bring, bring. Oh, sorry guys, I gotta go. There's an avalanche in my backyard.
I mean, you don't know.
See?
I'm sorry, guys. My dog has to go to the therapist.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Your dog has a therapist appointment at midnight?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't schedule it.
It was an emergency situation.
Everything's done online nowadays, so
fantastic. All right, so there's the new shirts. So those are available, and let's take a look and say hi to whoever's in the live stream before we jump into today's film selections. We've got Ivy Gentry's in the house. Good to see you, Ivy. Surf is there, one of our amazing patrons. Speaking of which, let's activate that bad boy so all of our patrons can get their names up there so everybody can see who is responsible for making this show possible. It's the people whose names you see down below. Sarcasm's in the house. Good to see you. Another one of our amazing patrons. So is Charlie Welch, the only man you don't make a bet with on the internet. He's here. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, Charlie. One of our amazing patrons.
I make a bet with him.
And the George says, and that says, he was saying, Elvira, my heart's on fire. So, and the George, good to see you. Jinju is in the house. Good to see you. And Angela says, sick as a dog with some type of stomach bug. I don't think that's the lyrics in the song, dude, but I hope you're feeling better soon.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Let me see who else we got here. Charlie, Daryl M, good morning. Good to see you. And Jinju says, hello, Haley. Charlie Welch as well says, hello, Haley. Mr. Malord is in the house all the way from Chicago. Good to see you. Says, hello, fitness friends. Daryl M said, good morning, sir. And I think H. Jasper E is in the house. Good to see you. Says, hey. And I see NANA is also in the house. Another one of our original patrons. NANA has been supporting the show from the very beginning. Yeah. So good to see you, NANA. And Glober Mom, good to see you. All these amazing people in the house. Fantastic. All right. We got a bunch of people, a bunch of our patrons, a bunch of new people, and a bunch of our regulars. All right. What do you say we what do you think, Eugene? Should we kick this? Should we kick season 3 off?
Let's kick it off with the first movie. The least known one out of all the ones we're talking about tonight.
I think we should start with the third movie.
We're not gonna any.
No, that's the climax.
Right.
Yeah. This is like the opening act where you have like the band. It's like the one guy and a guitar who they just found on the street.
Hey, can you diddle a little bit? Yeah, go.
Yeah. You just kill 30 minutes on stage. Like that's it.
Wait, that was me. Shit.
Oh, and Dark Steve, another one of our awesome patrons, has just popped in. Says lurking. I see you,
hey, Dark Steve,
over there. We have many people there in the corner. We have many people that lurk in our bushes, and we love them for it.
Absolutely.
All right. Yes.
Let's JL. What do we got first?
All right. Let's kick the tires and light the fires.
Big Daddy.
The first film that we have on our list tonight, released September 27th, 2013, We Are What We Are. Directed by Jim Mickle, written by Nick D'Amici and Jim Mickle, and starring Bill Sage, Julia Garner, Amber Childers, and Kelly McGillis. This film is actually a remake of a Spanish film of the same name, which centers around a fundamentalist religious family where cannibalism is a part of their routine. And so the events of the film follow after the patriarch of the family dies. The family is left somewhat...
Matriarch.
Well, it's the father in this one. In the father, it's the dad.
The dad's still there in the film. So matriarch dies.
Well, she dies, but then the okay, well,
so I was like, the mother died.
Yeah, what they said, JL. You're wrong.
Did you even watch it?
This is the one I did not get to watch.
I've seen it.
I know you did. Yeah,
I didn't get to watch this one. I started to watch it, and then my boss kept calling me. What are you doing? How come you're not working?
So anyway, the head, the leadership of the family dies, and the family is left somewhat rudderless. And yes, the patriarch of the family insists on continuing these traditions, and obviously, as Eugene likes to say, shit gets real. Because as the two daughters have divergent opinions about what the family does. But yes, I dug this one, even though it's a remake. The fact that it's about cannibalism makes it pretty awesome.
I think that says more about you, JL, than it does about this movie.
I like cannibal movies.
JL likes to eat people.
I like to eat people.
And he moved to a rural town in Oklahoma. Don't go to JL's house.
But Haley, given that this is a remake, I'm very curious as to your thoughts on this one.
Okay, so I actually haven't seen the original, which I wish I had because I'm actually a huge foreign film buff. I literally spend my days watching K-drama and Chinese and Taiwanese films and stuff. So I wish I had seen this because I didn't know it existed, which sucks. But I watched the one we chose to talk about, which is the American version. And in all honesty, I felt it was a little bit slow moving, if I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. But the makeup is to die for. Their lead makeup artist, his name is Brian Spears. He did their special effects. He did Army of the Dead. He's done Jessica Jones, Happy, Daredevil, Punisher, The Defenders, Orange is the New Black. Wow. So he's a super, super, like, in the now. He has one of the biggest repertoires I've seen for violence-related makeup, and he's awesome. So they really picked a great artist to do this.
Definitely in the series Happy, absolutely, because that show was awful.
Yeah. Wow. So they also brought on Jessica Keller to do like beauty makeup, day-to-day makeup, not special effects, and she did one of my favorite shows, which is The Blacklist. So that's pretty cool. And then Pete Gerner was also on it, but he's done a lot of stuff with Brian Spears, so that's kind of normal. But I think for me, I definitely feel like some of my favorite horror films are foreign, like Veronica. It's fucking killer. So I definitely want to go back and try to watch this in the original Spanish version.
The original was a Mexican American production.
Yeah. I definitely want to go back and watch that. I've actually already saved it on my Amazon Prime list, so we'll see it soon.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And to say, no, Johnny, I'm not a cannibal. And of course, that's exactly what a cannibal would say. But I'm not a cannibal. That's
exactly what a cannibal would say.
I'm not a cannibal myself. But what I dig about it is because my background is,
show us your fridge.
My educational background is in psychology, and particularly forensic psychology. The concept behind this is that what I always dug and why these kinds of films always resonated with me was because it's basically taking a particular like narrative and taking it to its obvious extremes. In this particular one, it's the extreme, almost the most extreme version of fundamentalist behavior or fundamentalist belief structures, the ritual of cannibalism that the family endures. This is basically fundamentalist belief taken to its most absolute absurd. But that's a good way to get across a message about a particular kind of ideology or the dangers of particular ideologies, is to put them in a form that people can easily digest.
Which we're kind of seeing in America lately.
Right, exactly. Texas.
I'm
sorry, I didn't mean Texas. I meant Gilead.
What are you talking about?
So
I don't know what that means.
Oh no, Angie's in the house as JL. Yeah, but do you have a freezer in your garage? I don't have a freezer in my garage.
Under his house,
unless you count the one that's attached to the refrigerator in my garage.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, but I've always dug this, and this is the concept of taking a particular narrative, especially
how they caught Jeffrey Dahmer, right?
Right. The idea that particular narratives taken to their extremes can convey particular ideas like that, which is a common thing you see throughout horror films, especially the slasher genre, where the notion of the virtuous girl and the people around her engaging in activities that will get them killed, so on and so forth. I mean, I like those narratives, those extreme narratives, because I mean they're a staple of kind of like how we tell stories.
I mean, yeah, of course about that, because America was kind of founded. America is not a Christian country, or aside from stuff like that, but the first Puritans coming in, and it's kind of taking. You're right. It's taking those beliefs to the extreme, because it has those religious, like how far are you willing to go for tradition?
Manifest destiny.
I mean, Yeah.
Yeah.
How far? If we take, instead of doing something like you have to have a ceremony a certain way, but now we eat people, and the links that you go to are eating people, and no matter what, the natural person is going to go and it's going to be grotesque. It's going to be, why would you do something like that? So it puts it in a form that people can understand and that's the horror trope behind it.
Right.
Well, if you look at the religious implications of cannibalism, right? So you're talking about the whole sacrament, eat this bread is of my body, drink this wine is my blood, so on and so forth. That plays an interesting role in this type of horror as well, because this is a deeply religious family, so they are partaking in what they would consider to be, the eating of the sacrificial lamb and whatnot,
to the point that they've tracked their family's lineage and the rituals that they have performed, like in the diary that they have. Exactly. So everything is tracked. This is like just keeping together like the family tree. Right. It's like at the start of they pop up with a giant family Bible, and there's the lineage of the entire family. It's along the same lines, just instead of Christianity, it involves like ritual sacrifice and eating of people. So the intensity, I like this one.
Well, it could still be considered Christian sacrifice, because it depends on how you want to interpret like blood of the lamb and
Well, yeah, this speaks of movies like Ravenous,
right?
Yeah.
Or Cannibal Holocaust, The Green Inferno, Soylent Greens.
And I really dug the concept in Ravenous. Why such an idea? The idea of cannibalism it's so taboo. It's so entrenched in our it's entrenched in our mythology. This very taboo idea of people eating people. When actually, if you look at human history, it's kind of a time-honored tradition. But
dude, we were in the green room earlier, and he said, drink Jameson. And my first thought was, there is conjecture that the guy who started Jameson bought a slave and ate it.
Oh yeah, it was. It wasn't the guy who started Jameson, but it was like his grandson.
Either way, that shit's fucking weird.
He
I will no longer drink Jameson.
Wow.
This is like late 1800s, like say 1890s, and so he went to an excursion to Africa and just to look at primitive tribes, because that was the thing back in the day. And he bought, it was like a 10-year-old girl, so that they could sacrifice and eat her. And he describes the whole encounter, how they tied her up, they slit her throat, and like dismembered her and all this other kind of stuff, because that was the experience he wanted to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on a funnier note, I think Chris Durham Music Channel should get a sticker or something for that. That is his best answer ever.
Oh, well, we go down. So, wow. Okay. So, NA says with the right barbecue sauce. Yeah, that's very important.
Oh, that's fried green tomatoes, by the way. Fried green tomatoes.
Angie asks, is the crotch considered a delicacy?
Angie, you have to ask MC Toon.
Angel Gamer says, my great-grandfather was a missionary in India and China back in the 30s, and he encountered a tribe of cannibals. He was given a spear and a loincloth made from human bone and skin.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
That's
considered still nude, though?
I don't know.
Charlie Welch says, crotch can be. It also definitely can't be. I guess it depends upon whose crotch it is. Christopher Music Channel says, Week in Horror. Sorry I'm late. My guess for tonight's trivia question is, Britney Spears' acting in Crossroads. Pure horror. That's hilarious.
Slow clap.
Yeah.
And I see Ryan Anons is in the house. Good to see you, Ryan. So, and you brought up Johnny, because Johnny, you connected the dots to Christianity, or I would say the spread of Christianity and Catholicism, and then the idea that, and one thing that got me was in Ravenous, and I actually had to dive into this, because in Ravenous, it's almost a throwaway moment. Is the idea when one of the resident natives, one of the indigenous Americans, who's helping the kind of army with the fort, he's conveying the idea of the Wendigo to the colonel who's running, who's in charge of everything, because he never heard it before. So they say that you eat the flesh of a man, and you absorb his spirit, become powerful, but you get a hunger that never ends. Right. And so And then he's like, so he's describing it on this loincloth where it's all painted out and everything. He says, people, and he asked him, people don't still do this, do they? And then he flipped it over, and then on the reverse side of it was a picture of Christ on the cross. And he says, white men eat the flesh of God every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, so I had to dive into that. And the very concept of that was weird. I was like, well, wait, how far does that go? Is that just an anecdote that the writers put? It's like, no, that was one of the things that indigenous Americans were terrified of when they were given the concept of the communion.
Yeah.
That freaked a lot of them out. That was like, whoa, yeah. The very notion
we'll cut your heart out.
The very notion of eating of your God was just insane to them. So that explained. I was like, so that resulted in a lot of conflict there. That's how ingrained and how hardcore this shit is in human society, which is why this movie I think is effective. But so I think all cannibal films are effective.
I can see that as if Christianity is we take the body of our God. Most other religions sacrifice to their gods. So I can see them thinking, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That really, if we're supposed to giving stuff to the God, why are we sacrificing our own God?
Mm-hmm. Y'all are fucking backwards.
And that's why I dig it. It's like, this is the power. This is the power in the horror.
Hey, I like that reference. There we go.
This is the power of the subgenre, the cannibalism subgenre, and I think it works. And I think the original filmmakers, the Mexican filmmakers who did the original version, they hit something really, really strong there. Is by combining the notion of extreme religious fundamentalism. And, to the degree that it would almost be like, freaking people out, like, wow, so fundy, you're scary. And then tying it in an implicit way through actual, like, religious ceremony to one of the most taboo concepts in all of human history, which is consuming our own.
But that's what horror is supposed to do. Horror is supposed to take the mild, like we look at religious fundamentalism as dangerous, but most people, if you were to ask what's the most dangerous thing in the world right now, like, whatever, disease or this and that. But if you take a look at, I didn't say it. Anyway,
the opinions of the guests on Weekend Horror do not reflect the opinions of Weekend Horror itself. Weekend Horror is not.
I'll own up to it. I don't care.
10 points awarded. Anyway,
I can't support anything you're saying. I
can say it for you.
We can't support.
We're not going to say you're wrong.
But you're not going to say I'm right. I know. I got you.
So anyway.
Yeah, we're just going to
moving on.
No, what I was saying is that I don't even know what I was saying. Who cares?
I think it says, come on, Christians are scary. Look at Texas.
You're not wrong.
Not wrong at all.
No, so that's what the horror genre does. Is it takes it takes things that we should be looking at as really fucking scary, like religious fundamentalism.
Things we take for granted. Yeah.
Well, so look at what's going because of what's going on in places like Texas. We have to look at these things, and sometimes we need to make it into a little bit more of a scary, because some people, you get some people saying like, hey, whatever, so what, they're voting down women's rights or whatever, not a big deal. Hey, how about they're eating people?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I have a concern.
I mean, we're like this far away from that, so
He's like, well, how about we start eating people? It's like, no, because you don't want to voice your concern because you might be next.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
you might be the one we eat.
It's like, I don't have anything to say. I don't have an opinion.
I need to use the bathroom, please.
Wigs, man.
But that's what makes this wonderful, and I do have to give a shout out to Julie. Julie? I want to make sure. Julia Garner. She is phenomenal in this.
Oh, yeah.
She's got I didn't. This actually is the first thing I saw her. I first saw her in the show Ozark, and she is magnificent in that role. It's kind of like the the Ozark-bred young girl who's kind of like living in the situation with her brothers and her stepdad, and it's just like, it's kind of the Ozarks, but the untapped potential, she has that. Like, she never got the opportunity to like kind of express herself and use her.
She's been in a lot outside of horror though, and she has surprisingly a fabulous act. I was really surprised that they had such a high name in the film.
Well, they had Kelly McGinnis in there too.
So
that gives a whole new meaning to the song "Take My Breath Away."
And that's what's interesting is Kelly McGillis is in this, and this movie was co-written by Nick D'Amici. Nick D'Amici is the reason why Kelly McGillis got her pretty much gave Kelly McGillis her start back after she retired, because the first movie she did back was Stakeland, which was co-written by and starring Nick D'Amici. So Nick D'Amici's like kind of putting these things together. It's Nick D'Amici and Larry Fassenden are the kind of like two kind of rather unknown names who are like almost the driving force of indie horror these days, which is kind of cool.
This wig is about to be death to me.
I
gotta give up on the wig. It's driving me nuts. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, you should have waited like 20 more minutes.
Dude, it's driving me nuts. My hair is close enough to hers naturally anyways, so
that's true.
Fine.
That's true.
But yeah, it's definitely, I love the genre. I love what they do with it. It allows people to be super creative. And of course, I'm glad we got to talk about this particular one, because with a horror and makeup effects artist here, the things you can do with the human body, especially, when you go into cannibalism, displaying human organs, displaying the body itself, especially if you want to convey that the person is, being butchered alive, all the kind of cool, fun ways you can get inventive in trying to showcase that on film. And I think
we're going to get to one of those really cool ways here at the last movie.
We will. Yes.
Yes.
We absolutely will.
Yeah.
So, and just, and especially back then, the inventive ways you had to do it in order to convey it on screen. Now it did, but back then I think it was a little bit easier. You had to get inventive, but because it was black and white, you had a lot of leeway. All you're playing with light and shadow, but nowadays everything's 4K, high def. You got to get in there and get visceral, like Green Inferno.
Got to make sure we can see the individual platelets of that blood. Damn it!
I'm watching these people get ripped apart, and I'm like, holy fuck!
Fucking eye dig out scene where they just reached and like scooped his eye out.
When they butcher the fat guy on that altar, I was like, oh God, that was horrible.
I was like, what did he do to you?
They're cannibals. He's a fat guy.
They very well.
Yeah. Can't you just taste that butter fat?
Delicious.
All right, so I want to ask the audience. We'll ask the audience real quick. What did you guys prefer? And when We Are What We Are, if you happen to have seen it, did you prefer the original Mexican production, or did you prefer the American remake? Both of them were very similar. Not a lot of changes. There's a lot of respect given to the original one. I think it was a matter of they didn't want to dub it. They didn't just want to dub it with English. They just wanted to make an American.
I was going to say it seemed like it was just a reshoot shot, really not was. Quite a shot by shot, but it did seem like it was right. It was pretty close.
I'm anti-dub, so.
The cinematography changes, I think the cinematography changes work, whereas in the Mexican version, they're much more stark, and they will set a scene. It's much more theatrical in the sense that you're watching like a stage play, where they don't move the camera around a lot. They'll set a scene and then let the action play in the scene. Whereas in American film, American audiences are much more used to a lot more action, a lot more activity of the camera, moving from moment to moment, and you just don't see that a lot in a whole.
Thanks, Jason Bourne.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But let us know. I'd like to know if you prefer the original one or the remake. Let us know in the comments below here in the live chat, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Alex does need something to read while he is off taking care of the kids.
Yep.
So Johnny, let's get to a really popular one, because that was the least known one. Let's get to a super popular one. The one I know a lot of people are waiting for.
Yeah. A lot of people have been waiting for this one.
Well, given recent news, you could cross that one off your list there, partner.
No, you can't. Okay, I'm not crossing anything off my list. Damn it! Tell me what I do.
You have a 0.01% chance. So you're saying I have a
look,
chance?
Wait a second. Wait. A, so you're saying there's a chance, and B, nothing has changed. All right, we are talking about, of course, the 1988 Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, a comedy horror film directed by James Signorelli. Of course, it features horror hostess Elvira, known as Cassandra Peterson, who recently, as JL and Eugene alluded to, came out. So congratulations. I'm glad she's able to live who she is. It's amazing.
19 years.
19 years. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I read that article thinking, damn, that's a long time to keep, that type of thing under wraps. And the reason why she did it was kind of confused me a little bit, because she talks about, well, I didn't want to, misrepresent the queer community. These are her words, not mine. I don't want to misrepresent the queer community, and I didn't want to potentially put off people who are into horror films, because, and then you got a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community like, what are you talking about? The horror film genre is the LGBTQ plus genre.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing that she's able to do that, and like I said, live her life, be who she is, and not have to worry about it. Of course, she's 70, but happy birthday. She's a 7-year-old I would take to dinner all day long.
I also want to give a shout out to her significant other, because the fact that she hasn't started a conversation with my girlfriend Elvira for 19 years, props.
Yeah.
Props.
Well, I don't know if she's been able to, though, because they started out as friends, right? Cassandra Peterson met her at the gym that she worked out at, saw this person, and she was a trainer at the gym. They worked together a little bit, and they had a friendship. And then when Cassandra's marriage fell apart, there she was to pick up the pieces and just cock block the rest of us dudes who've had fantasies about Elvira for years.
Oh, I got to jump in here. Real quick. We have a new patron.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Yes, just recently, H. Jasper E. has joined the Week in Horror patron family.
Yeah.
Thank you, H. We really appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. You will get your monthly newsletter here actually pretty soon, because it's about to be the start of the month. So thank you, H. Jasper E. for joining.
Yes, thank you very much. Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
So, the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, it follows Elvira as she inherits a house and has to fix it up.
Well, there's a little bit more
to look. There's a lot. Look. Okay, there's a lot more to the story than what I just said, but nobody really cares. We're there for Elvira, whatever she's doing. It could have been Elvira sitting on a couch for an hour and a half, and we were going to watch that shit. Okay.
So to fill those in who haven't watched the show, when in actuality, she does get an inheritance from her late aunt, a great aunt that she didn't realize that she had.
The house is haunted,
and then it turns out that the part of her inheritance is to protect a book from this evil warlock who wants to use it to control the world.
Yep.
So she becomes humanity's last hope.
Yeah.
Elvira, which is amazing.
She wins. Cassandra Peterson, I have to say that to this day, she's 70 years old, but she could still do Elvira.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Agreed. All around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will pay. I will definitely pay to go to the theaters to watch Elvira again.
Yeah. H.E. Jasper, you just became part of the fund that is trying to get Elvira back. Okay.
Yes.
So that's got to be it. But there, you consider what Cassandra Peterson and the look of Elvira, not just the costuming, the hair, the makeup, everything that goes into that, which is a body.
Not everything that goes into that witch. Everything that goes into that comma
and
witch.
Oh
yeah.
It sounded like you said comma. It'll save your life.
No, I just want
witch.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Commas
say
are important.
You did. You said everything witch.
No, I didn't say witch.
Okay.
Oh, witch. Yeah, like the but.
Yeah.
I said
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm making sure.
Which is a body of work. That was the joke I was going to make. Ha. So, but Haley.
Yes.
Take it. I think you have an idea as to what.
I have so much I could go on about this film. Honestly, this is like one of my favorite classic films of all time. First off, and I've always actually looked up to her and Cher. They're kind of my go-to. I want to be like them kind of people. So, I mean, there's so many good things about this film. It embodies, slapstick comedy, shadow play. I could go on and on about that. I have a favorite quote from that film. If y'all want me to do it, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Now, I'm not an actress, so it's not going to be perfect. But so the quote is along the lines of, "And if they ever ask about me, tell them I was more than just a great set of boobs. I was also a great set of legs. And then I never turned down a friend, or a stranger for that matter. And tell them when all that is said and done, I only ask that people remember me by 2 simple words. Any 2 words, as long as they're simple." And I feel like that embodies Elvira completely. Like, that whole little monologue is Elvira. So I fell in love with this film at a surprisingly young age, and I kind of feel like I've followed in her footsteps since then. So, again, what's really cool is the makeup artist involved in this film also worked on like Beetlejuice.
That's cool.
Ghostbusters, The Greatest Showman, Practical Magic, Mrs. Doubtfire. They were the chief makeup artist for Sandra Bullock for a while, so that's kind of cool. The hairdresser for this film actually married Chris Christopherson, which is kind of a cool little blurb, cool little fact. Yeah. And their special effects artists worked on Star Wars, American Pie, Scary Movie, Blade, Beetlejuice, Evil Dead 2, Trick or Treat, Terminator, Drop Dead Fred, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Ghostbusters. So, and then their special effects for Vincent, who's like one of my like nerd out moments, is Steve Laporte. And he's won 61 Academy Awards for his makeup for Beetlejuice. He's also done Lost, The X-Files, Van Helsing, American Horror Story, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, X-Men, Pirates of the Caribbean, Terminator, The Grinch, the series Angel, Coneheads, Hocus Pocus, Edward Scissorhands, Uncle Buck, Caddyshack, Spaceballs, Goonies, and Star Trek. So this guy is like creme de la creme.
What you're saying is he's done a little bit of work.
He's established himself. We'll say. When you said Vincent, that was from Beauty and the Beast, right? Ron Perlman's.
Which one?
Because you mentioned Vincent earlier. Was that I just heard that I heard that name pop up.
Okay, so I was talking about Steve Laporte just now. When I was talking about Vincent, the guy, one of the villains in the film is Vincent.
Oh,
her uncle.
Gotcha.
And
what you say? Yeah, Uncle Vinny.
Yeah. So that's who I was mentioning. But surprisingly, awesome. I have another cool little fact about that. Vincent is actually named after Vincent Price and Lyle Talbot. So his name is Vincent Talbot. So it's 2 people that inspired Elvira. So it's kind of cool.
Also interesting to note that the actor who played him was also on Game of Thrones. He played the Meister, who was faking, he's like always walking around like that, but was bullshit. But yeah, he was on Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen that show.
I just want to go.
Johnny, I feel like you haven't seen a lot of things.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
I just want to go. The fact because you said his name was Steve Laporte.
Steve Laporte.
Steve Laporte. So the fact that like he shaped our childhood and I didn't know. You drop a resume like that, just like boom, I've done all this. I
immediately say I can't afford you. Thank you for your interest. Next.
Well, and the thing is, I literally mentioned only the films that I've seen and found interesting by him. That's not even a third of what he's done.
Nice.
So
that's fantastic.
The guy is amazing.
He's one of those guys that if he stops working, he's going to die. Like just instantly. Yeah. The second he says, I'm done working, he's going to go poof.
Let's see. We got let me see. So Ivy Gentry says, "My hero, love Elvira." Absolutely, Ivy. Jinju says, "I want Elvira to give me a ride in her car." Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
Sure.
Ivy would also say, "Wow, lamest description ever.
Look,
Thanks,
again, the movie could have been Elvira just doing the bounce in a chair for 2 hours, and every last one of us would have watched every second of that.
Chris Durham Music Channel, good to see you. Chris says, get my mind out of the gutter. It's been there for 54 years. Ain't changing. Yep. Don't need to change it at all.
I mean, look, sometimes you just live where you live.
Jinju says, remember who was giving the synopsis. Good point. Thank you, Jinju. Appreciate
that.
Oh,
fuck your mother. What?
Angie says, I loved Elvira. My mom would call her a tramp and roll her eyes, yet all I pondered was doing my eyeliner just like her. Hella sweet, kind and confident, three-way with Morticia. Maybe.
Well, and see, that's an interesting thing when you start talking about like the character Elvira, how she becomes the counterculture, because the whole theme of the movie is she's the counter to this conservative town. She does the exact opposite because she dresses provocatively. She's a woman. She's confident. She's able to do this and she's able to do that, and she's able to actually use her abilities and everything like that to her advantage. And so what she ends up creating that counterculture. And one of the things is you think of big things like punk music, that subculture that comes where it's like anti-establishment, I want to fight the system. And she becomes kind of a figurehead for that, because it's for the disenfranchised people, the people who don't want to subject to the normal life. I'm not the jock. I don't care about the Letterman jacket. I don't care about being just an accountant in an office. I want to do something else. I want to do something adventurous. I want stuff that relates to me. I want to be able to be my own person and basically fuck the system. And that's what Elvira represents a lot.
What I really appreciate about Elvira is that she showed that you could be that sexually charged woman and still be confident and still be a badass. So definitely going along with that counterculture type thing, that women had their place. You know, if you're going to be pretty and attractive, you need to be over here in this box as, you know, the accessory to the man. And she's like, fuck that. I'm the one who's in charge. I do what I do because I want to. I love that. I love that confidence about her. That was the most attractive thing about Cassandra Peterson and the way she portrayed that character.
And there's a little funny bit I learned about during the audition period. Apparently Brad Pitt auditioned for a role of one of the teenagers in the film, and Cassandra Peterson herself said he was too cute. She wouldn't want to hit on Bob if he was in the movie. And the notes from the audition actually said, "Yum, yum." So I think that explains Cassandra Peterson really easily there.
Now I want to find out if Brad Pitt is even cooler than we thought he was.
Well, he bought her house years later on.
I bet he did.
He did. Her Gothic style home in LA. He bought it.
That's when you leave an impression on somebody, when it's like Brad Pitt.
I'm gonna buy her house.
Brad Pitt didn't even get into the movie and he still bought her a house.
Yep.
And one thing I think it's important to note is that, and one thing always struck me was that the very concept of Elvira, the design of the character, because most people don't know her for Elvira, but she has an extremely storied career as far as performance goes. She started out as a showgirl in Vegas. She was discovered when she was 17. She was kicking ass and taking names all up and down the strip. I think she worked at the Dunes, was where she pretty much got her start. Then, worked across the country, has worked Vegas, has worked New York, has worked LA.
Everything, everything in between. Yeah.
And the concept of Elvira, that is all her. There is design, like the costume design, it was done with her design partner, but the kind of Valley Girl nature of it, that the way that was developed when she was with the Groundlings in LA. Is where she developed that part of the character. And then when she went on to become the horror host that she became known for, that's when the horror image of the kind of like 80s goth punk stylization came in. And she just put the two together. But I mean, an incredibly talented and extraordinarily versatile actress. has been kicking ass and taking names for years before she became Elvira. But a lot of people don't know it. And the fact that she controlled that. She was in charge of making Elvira what she was. It was no one came along and said, we need you to fit this template. It's like, no, you're going to be the host. Bring what you're going to bring.
Yeah, do what you do.
And yeah, for the time period, that was pretty awesome to get that kind of leeway. So
yeah, Robert Allen Redding actually helped design Elvira. And the film is actually dedicated to him, which is super cool. And he actually did the painting in the film. He painted that.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's kind of cool little fact.
That's
awesome.
That's
awesome.
badass.
Now, something that was interesting. We got a couple of new people in the chat. I saw somebody pop in here. Oh, yes, you're talking about an '80s reference there. Moonchild is in the house. Moonchild 62. Okay, come on, name that movie, Johnny.
Oh, you would do that. You would.
I
know the movie, and you're going to tell me I'm going to beat myself up. So you win. You win this round. You win this round, JL.
Never any story.
Never any story. Fucking hell.
Boom! McFly! Anyway.
I know.
So
I know.
62 is in the house.
I'll get you back, motherfucker.
And I saw, let me see, Moonchild 69 is in the house. And Mass Debater's in the house. Is it? Yes. What is this? What did I just stumble upon? This is the first time in the live chat. And this is Movie Talk. Yes, we are diving into horror films that were released this week. So the one we're talking about, obviously, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And one thing I found this was really, really cool. So it stuck out to me was...
I bet it did.
So what we have here is obviously we have on its face what a lot of people recoiled at Elvira for was for what they deemed to be sexploitation. She was exploitative. She's got a big rack. She's got the thigh high slit, the way she throws herself at men, the way she embraces her femininity, her feminism and her sexuality.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So people, the conservative, the kind of conservative audience will look at this and be like, be kind of put off by her, but what they see is exploitation. She's in a movie. That's what she's the star of the film. They can see this exploitative. But what was interesting, what I thought would kind of like dawned on me while watching this again was it was a level of empowerment that she was retaking. Obviously, I think it's female empowerment. She's retaking control of her sexuality, but the exploitation is the men, or actually not just the men, but the men and women all around her in the town, attempting to use her to achieve their own agendas, that is what the real exploitation is. And you can say whatever reason it was, like the Vincent wanted to exploit her for her connection to the book, because she was the inheritor of it. So he wanted to exploit her access and her naivete to the situation to his own advantage. The people of the town want to exploit the fact that she looks the way she looks to continue their system of beliefs and to keep control over the kids. So everybody is trying to use her because of her attempting to retake her power and retake her feminism and her sexuality.
I think one of my favorite scenes to counteract that argument is when she brings the dish to the potluck, and she meant to make the scary one, but she fucked it up. And somehow she made like a sex love potion thing. And so the whole fucking town is getting busy in the park.
Yeah.
But it just kind of goes to show that like these people are oppressed. They're holding back their instincts, their beliefs because of what they deem socially adequate and okay. But she's like, oh, hey, they look like they're having fun. Okay. All right. My bad.
I dug the redirect. The redirect being that what typically people see as exploitative, tits, ass, so on and so forth, sexual expression. What they think is exploitative is not really exploitative.
No, she's taking back. She's owning it.
And she tells you that the real exploitation is subversive. It's underneath. And that's what people don't say, that people can be exploitative when they don't even realize they're being exploitative, which is brilliant writing. I think.
Absolutely, especially for its time during the 80s, like
88,
killer writing for the time.
What I was going to say is,
I don't even know what Johnny's like. No, I don't want that.
I don't want that. It was a lemon, I believe.
It's just his hand comes out. Eat this.
Like,
He's like, no, I don't want that.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
But I mean, going back to that, it's because it's her taking her power.
Hi, Angie.
She is dressing the way she dresses on her own terms because she wants to, because she's confident. And she's like, I got this. I'm going to show this on my terms. And that's why she's been able to elevate to the status that she is, because there's a ton of hot women in horror films. There's a ton hot final girls, hot other blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But the reason Elvira stands out at the level she is because of her confidence. And
she
it's on her
fucking
terms.
owns it.
Yeah, she does.
So 88.
when the letter falls off the side, it hits her in the head. How's your head? I've never had any complaints. You didn't know you were tired.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, so getting back to the
another one was she said I'm waiting for a standing ovulation instead of standing ovation. It was perfect.
This kind of went against that. What was it? I think it was the second wave feminism. If my timeline is correct, I don't remember. I think second wave feminism started in the mid 80s, right around this time, like 85. I think, I'm not for certain, but she kind of pushed back against it, saying, you can still be a feminist and still be sexual and still own your sexuality. Which, like I said, I appreciate for more reasons than just the fact that she was an attractive woman. But
I dig just how it kind of just. I mean, you get into the double entendre thing, talking about Elvira, and everything I think about now has a double entendre to it. I was like, the way she slid the message in there, it's just what she got across and the doors that she opened. In respect to how she approached her feminism, how she approached sexuality, especially sexuality in horror, that horror can also be funny, that these concepts are, and while they were viewed as counterculture, she's the counterculture company, even though, there's no drugs, and there's no overt, there's no, gratuitous nudity, there's nothing of that extreme. It's just a woman being a woman and embracing her femininity. And, that's the counterculture. And she recognized that she needed to break through that and such a character would be able to do that. And while being hilarious, campily hilarious at the same time. So I just think if anybody who's ever looked at it and been like, kind of passed on Elvira, any of her work, you've been kind of like, huh, you kind of see like the Peter Vincent kind of thing. It's like, the horror host, the scary stuff. Really dive into it. It's miles deep. You
have to look at it this way too. She not only addressed multiple horror films themselves within the film and giving a shout out to multiple different films, she has also been represented on The Simpsons as Booberella. She has found her way into society on multiple different platforms.
Yeah, she's iconic.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane how well she's done with this film.
I love what Angie says here.
It's great.
Original boss bitch of beautiful horror.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's actually a hashtag out there, bloody or gory but gorgeous, and I feel like Elvira fits right into that. So the makeup artist actually that worked on this, she wanted a specific guy, but he was busy doing Beetlejuice. So that's kind of cool. But a lot of the
what
people,
a loser.
But a lot of the people that she hired have worked on just some amazing productions. And so she may not have gotten, the original Beetlejuice. And she actually wanted Tim Burton to direct this. But unfortunately, she just wasn't able to grab him at the time. He would have done it if he wasn't doing Beetlejuice. So
Tim Burton Elvira, that would have been trippy.
But she did ask him. She did ask him to do it. So I think that's kind of cool as well. So.
This is the same Tim Burton that says he would know a hit script if it hit him in the face. So
I mean,
I don't get excited about a lot of Tim Burton films, especially now because he does so many remakes and everything like that. But if they announce an Elvira film directed by Tim Burton, even today,
I bet everybody's on board.
Oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody signs on.
I like this sarcasm. Says she was MST3K before it was cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do have to point this out. This is an interesting little tidbit. When I was looking into this, so she did take over a show. She took over a horror show. She was the horror host. That's how she came to prominence. But the show that she took over, and I finally got a chance to read this. I thought this was interesting. So the show she took over originally, when it was first conceived, was the same thing. It was a campy horror host thing with the kind of like the horror guy, whose name was who went by Sinister Stanley. Okay, was the name of the original host, and he was he was kind of like a gaunt-cheeked, sallow-eyed kind of guy who's like, I did the whole kind of goofy. But his real name was James Vincent was his real name, and he went by Sinister Stanley, who did the horror host and did looking at the old 50s drive-in movies and stuff. Well, he passed away. So 6 years after he passed away, that's when they did the whole revival and everything. But what's really interesting is I was thinking, wait a minute, Fright Night, whose name was Peter Vincent, is a complete nod to the work that Sinister Stanley did when he was hosting that little show on the weekends, and pretty much setting the stage for things that would be like MST3K and so on and so forth. So I want to shout that, because I don't know a lot of people that know that name. That Sinister Stanley, was horror. I can't remember what. I think one of the shows he did two. It was like Fright Night and something else. But that's kind of where it all started. The whole campy, goofy horror guy. And I think Danny, God dang it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I can't remember his last name.
Oh,
DeVito?
Danny DeVito, sorry. Danny DeVito played a similar. Sorry, I brain farted on it, but Danny DeVito did a similar character in his movie Jack the Bear. Yep. Which is what that was based off of. So interesting stuff there, yeah.
I can't believe you forgot Danny DeVito's name. You got to give me shit about.
I know, right?
Shit about fucking Neverending Story. You can't remember Danny DeVito.
I was like Danny. No, I had to stop because I was like Danny Aiello.
I knew I would get you. I knew I would get you back. Little did I know you would get yourself back for me. So
I was like, John didn't even have to do anything.
I didn't do anything.
It looks like Jocelyn's doing the pee-pee dance.
She is.
She's like, I gotta go pee. All right. Okay.
I will admit it's one of Elvira is one of those characters that's she's just such a horror icon. The TV host stuff has been great. The movie's fantastic, but it's just her in general. I knew who she was before I ever saw anything that she was in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ever.
Well, that's what it is. She's an icon. She is.
Absolutely.
She's an American icon. People will always talk about. There she is. Always talk about Elvira.
I took a break from the wig, and now she's back. Okay.
There we go. But people will always talk about Elvira when talking about. You can't talk about the horror genre comprehensively without bringing up certain people, and she is one of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She's entrenched. She will be there from now until forever. So
she's up there. Right, she's up there. Rod Serling, the Crypt Keeper.
Price.
Yeah, Rod Serling,
Price,
Bela
Lugosi,
Christopher Lee.
She's up there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, that being said, I do have a question. Seeing as how Elvira or Cassandra Peters, she's getting how they would say long in the tooth, even though I don't think so.
No,
I'd still take her to brunch.
I'd take her to IHOP. I'd take it to IHOP and get that early bird special.
There you go. Save money while taking on a date, you damn skippy. So we were talking about a Tim Burton Elvira film, which brings me back. Should we see an Elvira revival, or do we just say, all right, it's time for Cassandra to retire and enjoy the fruits of her labor? What do you think? Let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com, comment sections, or live chats. Let us know. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to do it. I want to do that movie. I don't care what. I don't care if I'm playing a fucking tree in the background. I want to do that movie.
I like this. I'm loving this Tim Burton Elvira idea.
I don't care who directs it.
Her world.
That's not an idea. She originally wanted him. That's not an idea. That is a fact.
Well, I mean, Johnny, you say you don't care, but it's not like Kenneth Branagh's take on Elvira. I mean, come on.
I don't look, Eugene. Look, JL, Eugene. I don't care if Elvira is in another film.
Elvira, a Spike Lee joint.
Yes.
I would still watch it. I would not. Opening day in the theater.
I would be there. Yes, I would order all the popcorn. Fuck. I would find out where the fuck that was being filmed and drive and sneak on that set just to be in the film. Yes, I would do it. I don't care who's directing it.
If I had an office job, I would call in sick to be there at 10 a.m. when the theater opened.
Yes.
Last little Elvira note. I brought my own little retractable
Nice. That was a great scene.
I mean, that was a great moment in the bowling alley. Yeah.
The bowling alley scene was wild. I mean, the kind of like weird-headed dude. I mean, he's gone on to he went on to have a somewhat larger career than the other guy. But I mean, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah,
I feel like the other guy was in like Greece or something.
Wasn't
he Greece?
I think it was
Kaneki. He was Kaneki, right?
I think you may be right.
Yeah, I think so.
That was Kaneki.
I believe it was Kaneki.
In Greece.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I was always thinking that it was such a those guys. I mean, you talk about skeevy. We see skeevy characters in horror all the time, but contrasted against her in in her class, I was just like, oh, gross. And
These
then,
guys suck.
and just the one that just like, I'm just gonna grab your tits if that's okay with you.
Ugh.
Yeah,
That happened more than it should have happened. Honestly, I don't come across that a lot, but I feel like that happened more than it should have in a film, even as a slapstick comedy. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
No, fair enough on that one.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It just it showcases them. I'm actually kind of curious. I'm looking at the chat right now, and people are listing directors like Edgar Wright and stuff. So I'm kind of curious.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
I would watch that. I love Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
So
as long as we've got Sean and Ed, somehow. The character
we just need Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
Nick
in
Frost
that
and
production.
No, not just Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Not just.
It's got to be Sean. It's got to be Sean and Ed. But Ed's
Sean and Ed. It could be a Sean and Ed prequel. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Elvira reboot by Michael Bay.
I would even watch that. As much
Elvira
as I can't stand.
Elvira reboot by Quentin Tarantino.
Now we're getting into that because that would just be like a half-hour monologue. Well, which I did say we would watch whatever she was in, as long as it's Cassandra Peterson giving that 17-hour monologue, then we're good.
Elvira by the Wachowskis.
All I'm saying, directed by Quentin Tarantino, somehow he end up covered in blood. Just at some point.
This is what you're going to get with an Elvira by Quentin Tarantino. You're going to get a 17-minute monologue covered in blood and gratuitous foot shots.
Dun, 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 dun. What is this? An Elvira movie with Ryan Reynolds in it. It's got Ryan Reynolds have to be in it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
About that.
There we go.
And the George said, feet.
All right. As much fun as it is talking about Elvira, her boobs and feet, let's get to probably my outside of the Elvira Mistress, my favorite film on today's list. Eugene,
fucking love this movie.
What do we got next?
Movie, like I said, we have a killer lineup.
Yes.
Tonight, a killer line because I loved this movie.
Yes.
It is Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which was released September 30th, 2010, directed by Eli Craig, and it stars Tyler Lambine, Alan Tudyk, Katarina Bowden, Jesse Moss, and Shailene Simmons. And basically, you got two hillbillies that are going to a cabin in the woods that Alan Tudyk just bought, and they're just going to fix it up. And these college teens see them as like the killer in like a typical horror fashion, and so they try to fight against them. And it's basically like a huge misunderstanding that goes across on it, and it's just fucking hilarious. And then fucking shit gets real.
It gets so real.
A kid runs into a wood
He just threw himself in the wood chipper.
No, it all boils down to Sheriff. We have had us a doozy of a day.
And he's like dragging the legs.
He's heavy for half a guy.
Here's Alan Tudyk is from Plano, Texas, not too far from where I'm at right now. So yeah, go Texas. That's one of the good things that have come out of Texas. I came across this movie by accident. I was surfing Netflix one day, and then this Tucker and Dale versus Evil popped. I'm like, man, what? This looks stupid. And then I saw they had Alan Tudyk in it. I was like, wait a minute. I like Alan Tudyk. I don't think I've ever seen him give a bad performance. Never. So let's give this shit a try. I popped that sucker on. I watched it like 10 times in a row. That's how fucking good this movie is. Okay. I just put that shit on repeat because it was so fucking funny.
When he pulls the fucking body out of the wheelchair. The wood chipper, he pulls out the wood chipper. He's like, no.
Yeah. The part where he's chasing, he's cutting the log and he hits the beehive and the bees are stinging shit. And he's running, with the fucking and that kid runs.
No, but he runs faster than the kid.
He runs faster than the kid who impales himself.
Oh, this is and the
There's so many dead college kids.
And the Jordan says, I imagine part of the script said the kids kill themselves in spectacular fashion.
That would have been the elevator pitch. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
This had to be such a fun film to make.
Yeah.
It had to be so much
absolutely.
fun.
Oh, you're a hillbilly too.
Half hillbilly.
Oh, that's right. Half hillbilly.
Half hillbilly.
Yeah. It starts out really good, right? So the opening scene, you got this reporter who's going into the house, into Tucker and Dale's getaway cabin that's been burned down, right? And she's and then they get attacked by this melted face thing. You're like, what the fuck just happened? And then little do we know that it's a time jump backwards in time. So the movie is actually set up really well, right? So it's not just a silly movie; it's a really well done, well put together film. It's a really good. If you haven't seen this one, you sit down with it; you will not be disappointed.
Because what it does is it plays on all of the horror tropes.
Yes,
it's
like a funny Cabin in the Woods.
Did you find it on Netflix? Because that's where a lot of people in the chat are saying that they didn't find it until it just popped up on Netflix.
I mean, I've watched it years ago, but when I rewatched it, I found it on Prime. Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
nice.
But I mean, I watched this years ago. I think I saw this in theaters or some shit. I don't know. It's been a long time, but it's great. Honestly, the more I laugh at death, the more I know they have something working for them. Because I'm the girl that likes a funny fucking death. Like, it is what it is.
And there's some good ones in there.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
the accidental sheriff death with spikes in the face.
The one that gets me is the guy who first impales himself, and I'm just like, oh god, you know what? If I have to think about my teenage years, because I did a Dallas 48 1 year, 10 something years ago, and it was a horror B-roll, and I was in the main cast, and I literally impaled myself, and it was meant to be bad B-roll horror, and so I can't act for shit. But here I am fucking impaling myself at the end of the movie. I was the last one to survive, and then I killed myself. So this movie kind of makes me relate back to that. And I'm just like, oh God. But it's great. It's great. It's good stuff. The more I laugh, the more I know that the film is going to be successful, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean exactly what it is, because what this movie does is it makes fun of all of the tropes, because you have the college kids and they go to the gas station. You have the scary hillbilly and he has a pitchfork.
It was a sickle. It was a threshing sickle.
Yeah,
it was a scythe.
And he walks up and just he's like, tink, tink, tink. Yeah. He's like, y'all going on vacation?
I'm going to disappear for a second.
I do think.
And so the thing is every time you watch a horror movie, you're like, Why the fuck would you talk to that guy? What are they doing? You're
Yep.
stupid. You deserve to die. And then it turns out he's the nicest person out of everybody in the film.
Yep. Yep.
Y'all going on vacation? You gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, movie's so good.
Oh, so freaking great. But I love flipping the script. I love movies that flip the script. And of course, what somebody mentioned, I saw somebody comment, it's essentially a comedy of errors, is what this is. But obviously taken to the, I think this is the first time, as far as like a legit straight up horror film, with this kind of carnage that takes place in this movie. I don't think I've seen. I think that's what made it so good, is they were the first ones to strike that nail on the head. The kind of, where nobody knows what's going on, everybody's running by their own assumptions. The very Guy Ritchie kind of thing, where instead of a Guy Ritchie film where everybody's got different parts, no one's got all the information, then they all collide into a big action scene at the end. Whereas this one was just about everybody's running around, no one knows what's going on, they're all drawing their own conclusions until finally we have the big conclusion. We have the big thing. You're half hillbilly.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of it, like that's why this film works. Is because like I just picture like in a pitch session is like, hey, what if the hillbillies weren't the bad guys and they were nice?
Yeah, they were the good guys. It turns out the college kid was the bad guy.
Yes. On that. And that's just what hilarity ensues.
Right.
You heard my dog. I'm gonna get really mad.
Yeah.
I also love that they gave the main character like this ridiculously good trivia brain.
Right.
Like I want to take Dale to trivia night.
Yeah.
I gotta wear.
We'd win.
Yeah.
We would win. We'd win at trivia night. That's all I'm saying.
And I mean, it was just everything about it. The cabin, because the cabin would look like a whole death trap. Like everything just.
Well, yeah. So there
was a bone mobile in it.
Yeah, they allude that this cabin was run by so that cabin, obviously
right.
it was.
There ain't nothing but pain and suffering up there at that cabin.
But no, that cabin is that's like the original. The rape cabin from the bad hillbillies that gave birth to, the evil hillbilly at the end. Burn face.
What was it? All the murder clippings on the wall.
Yep.
Oh my God! Do you see this?
Chili dogs for cheap.
No expiration date.
Well, it's another really cool thing is that their prosthetic guy actually did a lot of the prosthetics for Blade as well and Fargo.
Wow, very
really.
Cool.
See,
yeah.
I had made the connection that maybe the makeup people who did Fargo, because they use the same gag, right?
That's what I'm saying. Fargo is involved.
The wood chipper gag. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I thought of when I saw that. I was like, oh, hey, Fargo.
Yeah. Another fun thing is their hairdresser did Shanghai Noon. I guess that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The idea that always gets the wood chipper death, and I mean I can get it, but in Fargo at least he was dead. Steve Buscemi was dead before he went into the wood chipper.
Yeah.
But
this guy just dove.
He dove head first into the goddamn thing.
He's just straight like right behind him.
It's a suicide pact.
Still, when he saw him through that fucking log and hits that hornet's nest.
I love his reaction.
My face is so hot.
I love his reaction, because if I was next to a wood chipper and I saw someone dive in, that's how I would react. Just like,
I'll help you.
I'll help you. They're making her dig her own grave.
I absolutely adore.
I think I laughed too hard at this film,
and I think that's the reason why it was so fantastic, is because I don't think anybody had done a comedy of errors in this respect in this subgenre. It's flipped the script. There have been parodies of horror films. I mean, obviously you had like Scary Movie, and
that's what I was going to say. This is not silly. This is not a silly comedy of errors, right? You could see this. Maybe not as, of course, not like funny like this, but you can see like some of this stuff happening, running in the woods and accidentally getting impaled because you're so afraid of the fucking chainsaw wielding guy.
Not running, looking where you're going.
Who's being chased by DEs, but you don't recognize that.
Right.
Well, because what's interesting about it, it's a very kind of a British comedy thing because it's the misunderstanding. A lot of shows play off that like IT crowd and coupling and all this other kind of stuff, where it's no one has the complete information and the bad things happen and people jump to conclusions on that, and it worked perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a film that I actually feel like, even though it's more on the sci-fi genre, relates very closely to this one. It's John Dies at the End.
Oh yeah,
it's very much done in a way that hasn't been done before, and I think that's really cool about this film. It's a trope that's done, but from a different view, and I think that John Dies at the End and also Tucker and Dale versus Evil kind of plays on a different perspective of the trope, and I think that's really cool.
And who better than Tyler Labine and Alan Tudyk?
Absolutely,
they were so good. They really were.
Yeah, I could think of two actors who could have pulled it off better, pull out that relationship, the chemistry they had, and just the natural affinity for comedy. Because I remember seeing Tyler Labine I caught him in a few episodes of X-Files, because he was in the X-Files. There was a running gag of these two kids, these two teenagers, a guy and a girl, who are always getting high off of really weird shit. Like cooking manure to get high, or doing something, or eating, or doing something with insects to get high. He was that guy. So he was an X-Files running gag throughout that. And then I next time when he landed a major role was in Reaper, where his friend is the son of the devil, who is now supposed to go and collect souls and shit. And they worked at a hardware store. And he had the girlfriend, and he had the best friend, and he was the best friend. He was knocked down hilarious in that show. So,
A.T. Jasper, I'll answer your question here in a minute. Sorry, Joe.
No, it's all good. I think we're good for a CTA.
Eugene, that's you.
I thought you were going to answer his question first.
I can. I think A.T. Jasper is talking about The Burbs.
Not exactly a horror movie, but still I'm looking for the title of this 80s or maybe 90s film. Two teens suspecting their neighbor who had some sort of incinerator oven in his basement.
No, that wasn't two teens. No, that
wasn't. Because that's just Tom Hanks in The Burbs.
Yeah. But it does have Corey Feldman in it, which...
That's true.
If you're kind of misremembering the film, maybe.
I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is around. Dude, Ray Dukeman, man. He was Rick Dukeman. Rick Dukeman was amazing. Yeah. That dude is so funny. My feelings are hot.
Didn't he pass away?
He did.
Yeah, like what, 4 years ago? Yeah.
His fingernails were black. We could go on about The Burbs all day.
Oh, yeah. Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, yeah. But I felt like it was just for name drop value only, because she's only in like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, 20 minutes tops.
Yeah.
No, boys, he can't come out and play.
Please.
But okay, all right. So I want to actually ask the audience, because if this film came out around 2010, should this film have a sequel, or should it just be like a one and done? Personally, I'd say one and done. I think it's a gym, it's a lightning.
They did it.
Just done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Standalone. You can make other horror comedies. You can make other horror comedies that even mess with this trope of the hillbillies and all. That's to me is totally fine. But the actual characters, Tucker and Dale, one and done.
I mean, they left it open for a sequel, and I can see a sequel working kind of, but not in the way that the first film went. Not in that comedy of errors type thing.
This was lightning in a bottle. This was they I don't think, I mean, you'd just be retreading ground they've already tread. They hit, they scored it with this one. No need to no need to run it into the ground just to do the comedy of errors again, or do some other situation, or just change it up so it's not hillbillies. It's just more of the same. And I like that we have these characters, we have the kind of universe they live in, and we don't need to explore it any further because it's just, it's good where it's at.
One idea that the other hosts of the Plot Hole podcast, we had this idea a few years ago where we would take a group of characters and a story that would trope through 4 different film genres. So we would make 4 different films, make a comedy, an action, a horror, and then a drama. But it was the same story. The lineage of the story was the same. I could see something like that working, right? So if there was a sequel, if it were more straight horror kind of thing, kind of like a straight slasher, but then it would lose the fun of what made Tucker and Dale work.
Right.
I see. I don't think it would work, because the thing that makes Tucker and Dale work is because it's subversive to the genre.
Right.
It catches you off guard. It catches you. You're not expecting it. So if you watch a sequel,
you're gonna expect it.
Exactly. Yeah. You're gonna expect it. You're already in on the joke.
Which is why I think that the only way that it could work is if they abandoned the joke part of it. It went more like straight slasher. Now Burnface is out and he's tracking them through the town, and they that's the more straight slasher type thing.
Well, so there were ideas as far as the script goes. That originally director Eli Craig was talking about a possible script that would have been called Tucker and Dale Go to Yale. That would have been it would have been a comedy. It would have been like Good Will Hunting meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But in the
Good Will Hunting too,
there was an idea, hunting season. But then there was an idea. But Alan Tudyk had an idea of doing a sequel that was more similar to From Dusk Till Dawn. To go the vampire route and everything. And but apparently in 2017 at Boston Comic Con, Alan Tudyk was asked about any potential of a sequel, and he said that a script had been written but was very disappointing, and it was unlikely anything further movement was going to happen. And at this point, that was 2017. It's now 2021. There's no word on the mill. I'm pretty sure.
This one's dead.
This one's
dead.
And we don't need it. I don't think we need it.
No, we really don't.
They did what they set out to do what they wanted, and they did it well and perfect.
Yeah, that's it. Just stand alone, leave it perfect.
This is one of those ones where a sequel, because it's tough for a sequel to do better than the original or be as good as the original. There are very few sequels that have done it. Like Home Alone 2 was as good, if not better, than the original. Very few. Especially in the horror genre, let alone the horror comedy genre. That's not parody, like Scary Movie 2.
Cooties,
right? You couldn't. I don't know if you could do another Cooties. I just don't think it would work.
There's a few that only work just the one time.
Yeah. And I think
Shaun of the Dead, it worked one time.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, it worked one time.
Although they, you can make the argument that even though At World's End was more sci-fi, you can make the argument that was really Shaun of the Dead Part 2.
I mean, it's part of that trilogy.
But it's a thematic trilogy.
Right.
So Ivy Gentry says, "Hell yes, just do a Tucker and Dale and wives and kids with a killer carnival full of clumsy clowns." That would be cute. That would be super cute.
That could be fun.
Definitely let us know in the comments below or at weekinhorror@gmail.com if you think one and done or all done.
Yep.
Definitely.
It's time for one of my favorite films of all time.
Yes. JL, bring us home.
Absolutely. Gives himself all the good ones.
And this is third season. We did the first episode is 3 seasons it's taken us to get to this movie. And it's good. You say
well, 2 of these topics on here, it took us 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just jump into all the good ones all at once.
Right.
I could have stacked all the episodes we all good, then we have nothing to talk about. We've been talking about the giant Gila monster.
Which is an important film.
Yeah, I learned a lot about Gila monsters.
So this one, absolutely. So released October 1st, 1968. The original legend, Night of the Living Dead. So directed by George A. Romero, and based on a screenplay by George Romero and John Russo, starring Dwayne Jones, Judith O'Dea, Marilyn Eastman, Carl Hardman, Judith Ridley, and Keith Wayne. The story is, if you're not familiar with it, which I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you are, is a group of individuals get trapped in a house as they are besieged by the mysterious rising of the dead.
You know, ghouls.
Ghouls, because they never actually called them zombies.
They never call them, but they're zombies.
They're zombies, yes, but they never call them.
They never say the word zombie.
Because Romero was aware that zombies, from Haitian culture, and he thought that his were different enough that he didn't have to call them that. So.
Right. Yeah, he didn't think they were zombies. He thought they can't ghouls.
And George says, "We're coming to get you, Barbara."
I saw this
coming
movie.
For you, Barbara.
Yeah, I saw this movie when the first time. I think I was 8 years old when I first saw this movie. Scared the bejeebus out of me.
So, as someone, obviously in one of the seminal films as far as horror goes,
this changed horror.
You look at films like this, this is 68. In 1960, there was Psycho. But there was not much. I mean, not much in the vein of this, but this one, like Johnny said, changed the fucking game.
This is a birth of a subgenre in the horror film.
Absolutely,
not just there were concepts taken from movies like Carnival of Souls and White Zombie, but in this one, Romero brought his own special spice to it.
Yeah, This was in terms of the top 5 most influential films in horror. This is on that list.
So my curiosity,
not even just horror films.
That's why I was so excited to bring Haley on, because this particular movie that we get to talk about, integral to not only the subgenre that it created and the horror genre, as it changed the way we started looking at horror films and how seriously we took them, but the advent of the effects in this movie and what they went to shock the audiences that watch this. Because from reading interviews on it, people were going into theaters, expecting, it's horror movie. We've seen horror movies, The Blob, stuff like this. They walked in and there were critics who were saying that people were halfway through this movie, and it wasn't like that theater was shock silent.
Yep.
Oh, I have a lot to say about this film. First off, the makeup artist that did all of this is Marilyn Eastman, and she actually hasn't really done anything else in the way of makeup. She's actually an actress. She did her own makeup for this film and appeared in the film, which is pretty cool.
She was a naked lady, right?
No, she's the one that eats a bug.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I mean, I can go on and on about this. So, a couple cool things I know about this, like all of the blood they used, because it's black and white, is specifically Bosco chocolate syrup. There's no, that's like a majority part of the blood they used. During the scene when the truck explodes, when they're trying to fill up the gas tank and the bodies are burnt, they're actually they are legitimately eating roast ham covered in chocolate sauce. So that's super cool to know about.
Nice.
The upstairs body in the house that you see dead that never comes back to life, and we're not really sure why that is. George Romero actually made the eyeballs for that out of ping pong balls. So that's pretty fucking cool. Like George Romero fucking made those himself. And I thought that was pretty cool.
The things you could pull off when you were playing with just light and shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another thing for me, one of the investors, a lot of the people that acted in the film were just investors in the film. Right. And one of the investors was a butcher. So he actually donated a lot of blood and guts to the film to make it seem more real.
The guts and intestines and whatnot were
real.
Yeah, they were real.
Yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah.
I know at one point they said John Stravinsky was actually pouring water into sheep intestines to make it appear more cinematic. And there was some silly putty used, but most of it was real animal organs and bones. And it was actually one of the first films to use squibs for gunshots, which I think is a pretty cool little fact.
I did not know that.
That is awesome.
I have two other little things about it that I think are really cool. Is John A. Russo, who actually had a cameo in the film as one of the zombies. He was the zombie that was on fire. He said he did the stunt because nobody else would, and he was probably hungover at the time, which I think is just great. And then this is kind of my well, here's one other thing is Romero actually wanted Harry to eat Karen in the basement, but he said that would be too disturbing even for his own film, so he made Karen eat Harry instead.
That would have been a real interesting.
That would have been a real shot.
Yeah. So
I mean, I like where it went, but I think that would have made a.
Well, I mean,
and that's what he said. It was way too disturbing to even do that. So I think that's kind of cool.
That would be, especially 1968.
Yeah,
that's intense.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But my favorite thing about this film, makeup wise, is that Marilyn Eastman, who is specifically an actress, chose to focus less on the rotting aspect of zombies and instead making whatever facial feature was prominent to that person. She made it more prominent because her goal was to make them appear more unsettling versus rotting.
Which
so
makes sense
me,
because it was the beginning of the ghoulish outbreak, so that would make more sense. Yeah.
So to me, I mean, this is just conjecture completely. This is just my own opinion, but I think this relates back to the Uncanny Valley. And if anybody knows what the Uncanny Valley is,
that's actually a really good point.
Yeah. So there's one of my favorite statements about the Uncanny Valley. So first off, the Uncanny Valley is an evolutionary tactic for survival that humans have developed. And we don't know why we've developed it. So one of my favorite quotes from that is that no other animals that we know of experience the Uncanny Valley effect, only humans. Which leaves a question, what was out there that mimicked humans so well, that was so dangerous to us, that we evolved to have this as a tactic for survival?
That's a like a creepy, horrifying aspect, like something extinct that maybe 200,000 years ago existed that we had to run from or fight against that we just don't know today.
Interesting.
So that's just my own take on why she chose to exaggerate features versus doing rotting flesh.
Aliens.
I mean, I like
it's open-ended. That's the point. Is that everybody can come to their own conclusion, their own opinion on why she chose to do the makeup this way.
But the thing is like it works because I mean it's right. It's just dead are just coming back. Most of the bodies there are new, fresh bodies, so they're not going to be rotting or anything like that. Hours go by before you see any form of decay or even rigor mortis sets in. So like it makes sense for the way they are on it, and it's fascinating.
The level of depth that went into making these things, and you consider that like what? Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
I was gonna say, didn't Savini work on he snuck onto the set and worked on a little bit of things here and there?
So from what I understand is that he was supposed to be the original makeup artist on this, but he was in the army at the time, so he did what he could here and there, but he couldn't come on set the whole time.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that obviously the background of Eastman's work goes that far, and she was able to use that knowledge to her advantage for the film.
Right.
And then of course, there's the cultural implications of the movie as well. So this thing is miles deep, not just in what the effects they had, but what the standards it set. Now, I have to. We obviously have to talk about the fact this is 1968, and I believe they were shooting this in Philadelphia. Or Pennsylvania. Shot in Pennsylvania. Shot in Pennsylvania, which is Romero's hometown. So shot in Pennsylvania, and the casting of Dwayne Jones as Ben.
Yep.
So
Romero likes to say that it was just because he was the best, and that's a nice thing to say, but I call bullshit on that. I think it was done.
Wait. Before we really dive into Dwayne Jones and all, because I know we can talk about this for a while. Moonchild62 says he's an anthropologist. So if Moonchild62, if you have anything to add on the Uncanny Valley effect, please let us know in the comment section because we would like to learn more about it. Okay, go ahead.
We have some DNA from Neanderthal and maybe some others. It's interesting. But no, like I said, it's a nice thing to say. No, I cast Dwayne Jones because he gave the best reading, the best performance. And again, 1968, we're 4 years from the civil rights movement. We're still dealing with Jim Crow in the South.
Yeah.
I call bullshit. I think this was done specifically because the horror genre is known for pushing the envelope on social commentary. Especially this genre that if you look at the zombie film genre, the zombie films are not about zombies. Zombies are just characters in the films.
That's true, but if you look at Dwayne Jones's background, he was a classically trained theater actor. He was known, locally. This is what brought him national recognition.
Mm-hmm.
But and the guy, he was regarded as someone who was.
No, look, I'm not saying he's not a talented actor. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there were also a bunch of other talented actors that, that were not people of color. So I think it was deliberate. I think Romero was saying I think he was doing what he thought was the right thing to say by saying, no, I hired him because he gave the best performance. I think he hired him because he was A, really good at what he did, and B, because he was black, and that was Romero likes to push the envelope. He likes to fuck with people.
He wants to piss people off, but he did it in the best way. Absolutely the best way.
Sarcasm said the ending would have been shit if Ben had been white. It wouldn't have had the same impact socially.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you go look through that, Eugene, I'm going to say this last thing, and I'm going to turn it over to you. If you look at all of the imagery there, like the lynch mob imagery, it is peppered throughout the entire film. The stance against the Vietnam War, the stance against racial segregation, the stance against racism, period. It's in the film. So for him to say that, no, I just hired him because he was the best actor, that's bullshit.
I don't think there was a black zombie. Or a black
not one.
Not a single one.
There was one black person in this film. One.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if you think back at the time, so this came out in 1968. This is talking about like September 1968, right? Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated about 4 or 5 months before this movie.
Exactly. That's exactly
on this. And the tensions and all the stuff that goes on. And the fact that at the very end, they don't even check to see if he is a zombie. The guys come up, they see him, and they just shoot him.
They just shoot him.
Right off the bat.
I've always felt that this represented some sort of message to America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Period. Or social.
Well, definitely.
Message.
Especially, I don't think there's any argument can be made, but any argument that could be made against it, especially after Dawn of the Dead. After Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, and those ones practically hit you over the head. Capitalism, and then elitism.
Yep.
Is what those came down to. And then this one, obviously, racism, capitalism, elitism, 3 of the most degenerating concepts in our nation today. And that right there, I have to agree. Go ahead.
Because even if you look at the roles, what would most people expect of the stereotype at the time? You have the white family.
Right.
You have the husband, wife, the kid.
The white savior.
The white savior.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're hysterical.
And the dad is fucking, the white dad is fucking useless in this movie. In fact, his wife is more useful than he is.
Right.
So you have this, he should be the white savior. That's what everybody's expecting. And then they're making things worse.
Right.
He's hysterical. And then you have the black guy that comes in who's level-headed, who's trying to protect people, who's going against all the stereotypes of what black people were in the 60s.
The most brave out of
all
of them. You've got the what is his name? The jock and his girlfriend that end up becoming more, they have more bravado by going out there to help been with the truck, and they ultimately meet their own demise because of a mistake they make. And again,
but he had to go first,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, I understand why Romero said it. I understand why he defended it into the day he died, saying, no, it's just because he was the best. I still call bullshit.
There's too much aligned in favor of
Way
the fact
too
that
much.
he was sending a message with this movie. This was his opportunity. And and then of course, given the high, like I said, Savini was involved. This was Vietnam.
Yep. Vietnam's still going on.
Vietnam was going on. The counterculture, movement was picking up. Anti-Vietnam sentiment. The idea of African Americans being sent there, under the guise of just trying to get them out. There was, the country itself was a boilerplate, and everything was going off. So, like you said, like Eugene mentioned, Martin Luther King Jr., who was shot there. And I think if I remember reading an interview, Romero said he was so busy on this, he didn't even realize, he didn't open a paper to read it until after the release. So he wasn't even aware of it. But how could
horseshit.
Horseshit.
Yes.
I call, you're talking about one of the most influential Americans in American history.
Yeah.
Every newspaper, every news outlet is going to be reporting. But the thing is with George A. Romero, he knew if he admitted, oh, I did this on purpose, the film would lose some of the effect.
Yep.
So he took it to the grave.
It also changes his position though, because he's no longer just an independent filmmaker. Because now all of a sudden he's a voice in that movement, and he's using his art to push that message.
But here's the thing, right? So let's take a look. We're gonna draw a parallel really quick. So let's take a look at Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan hates the fact that people call him the voice of a generation.
But he is the voice of a generation.
Exactly. He still hates it, right? People ask him, what did you want to be? What did you want? Did you plan on being the voice of this revolution, of this generation? He's like, no, I wanted to be Elvis. Well, that's nice. I mean, that's legitimate quote from Bob Dylan. He wanted to be Elvis. He wanted to just be famous and this, that, and the other. But it is, you don't accidentally write fucking 15 albums of protest songs. You don't accidentally do that.
True. Yeah.
You don't accidentally make horror film after horror film that has social commentary so blatantly interwoven inside of your film. You don't do that by accident. Right. So you can say that, hey, look, I just want to be an independent filmmaker. Bullshit. You had something to say, and you're using your art to say it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I mean, it's incredible. Just the statement as a whole. Like, this was the movie. Everything came together perfectly for this film. All the influences, the time period, everything put on top of that. And this is why, if you are a horror fan, if you're not just a horror fan, if you are a fan of art in film, this is one of the top films you need to watch.
Yeah, so this film influenced more than just the horror genre. The reason why we have the MPAA is because of this film.
Right.
You got jail. You hinted about it. There you are. You're that way.
Yeah, I'm over here. Yeah, I'm over here. This way. But yeah,
you hinted at it earlier.
Reading about those, just trying, because 1968, people did. I mean, there was the concept of extreme horror was not really a thing. So you had scary stuff. You had ghosts. Right. You had vampires. You had your universal monsters. Everybody's aware of Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, and so you have all of these kind of like basic concepts. All things derived from just like old legends that we've been carrying with us since we came over from Europe. And then all of a sudden comes along this this horror films like Night of the Living Dead. Oh, people are on the cover, but then all of a sudden people say, oh, it starts out, they're coming to get you, Bob, right? Oh, it's kind of tongue in cheek, and then all of a sudden, like Eugene says, shit gets fucking real, shit gets real
fast,
and then they get into the house, and I think the scene that I think was mentioned when this one reviewer is in the theater watching this at the premiere, everybody is just dead silent, staring at the screen. A 9-year-old girl in the audience crying, just tears streaming down her face, unable to really cry watching what she's watching. That scene when they're all like piled up on the body, and it's like, they're like they're chowing down on, and people are just like they've never seen anything like this before. Gallo films aren't like Italian Gallo films aren't even really a thing.
This is something that
Bava and Fulci and those guys haven't dropped their shit yet.
Yeah, that's the 70s right there. Yeah,
exactly. But see, this is something that nobody's brought up yet, and you have to remember that horror films were told that they had to operate under a certain formula. Like the good guys had to win at the end of the horror films of the 50s and the 60s, and it wasn't until Romero's film came out where, yes, you can make the argument that the quote good guys won, but did they really? Did they really win? Because Ben getting shot at the end of it, he was the good guy. He was the hero of the story. So he didn't. He bucked that trend. Which
that's the Pyrrhic victory. That we won, but at what cost did we win?
What cost?
Did we give up, right?
Because at the same time, Ben does everything right.
Yeah, he does.
Everything.
Every move he makes
is right. Yes.
I feel like that followed with 28 Days series. They followed the same kind of setup where did the good guy win? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, it's very like, at what cost? Well, at what cost did they win? Because you have, we have an area that is isolated and we can keep the zombies out, but then all the shit, and you realize that the people are just as bad as the zombies when you're like, oh no, we have our troops and we're gonna go and try to breed with these women and stuff, and then all see.
And this was a concept that would influence the genre from then on. Russo would run with this in Return of the Living Dead.
And that one was amazing because they gain actual higher knowledge, which
and the very concept the very concept that Kirkman and the guys behind The Walking Dead encompass that at one point. The people become scarier than the actual zombies that are walking around.
And that's what the social commentary of The Walking Dead is.
Yeah.
Every zombie film, every good zombie film is not about zombies. It's about social commentary. Every one of them. Every last one of them. You think about your favorite zombie genres, films, whatever. If you go back and look at it, you'll find the social commentary.
Right.
Yeah, my favorite scene from The Walking Dead is in season 2 where they're at the bar and they come across two strangers and they talk about, hey, where's your farm?
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these zombies and all this other kinds of stuff and all that leads up to this moment. But when you have Rick standing there with the two guys in front of Herschel and Glenn, and you realize, no, the biggest threat to the farm is people. On it, and Rick doing everything he can to go. No, I can't.
That was still early in the series. That was still early in the series. Back when they were
season 2.
Well, what I mean is that was early in that's when the zombies were still a threat. They still a danger before they had figured the whole shit out with how to deal with that part of it. So there's like a double threat, and which one was more dangerous? Well, these two guys here who are talking about what they're doing to other people, and I don't like the looks of these guys as they're a threat.
They're a threat. I heard Nebraska's nice this time of year.
This is no longer a democracy. It's a dictatorship.
Dictatorship, yeah.
So I want to ask the audience. Now this is interesting. So obviously one of the seminal horror films, a required viewing if you're a horror fan. And of course, if you are a makeup and effects industry fan, something you could look at kind of like the foundations of some of these things that how people did them and how they built off of them. So much you can learn from both the history and the making of that went into this movie. But we have mentioned nothing about the fact that Tom Savini, Vietnam veteran, and the guy who uses Vietnam experiences in order to channel them into his makeup effects, became one of the most amazing effects artists of the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. To this day. That Savini,
the most chill person ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's so chill. God. Savini, who directed the 1990 remake of this movie, starring Tony Todd as Ben,
which is a good film.
Which was really good. I mean, Tony Todd, he's fucking legend, man.
Yeah.
I'd have to throw this out there, just how legend Tony Todd is. He played Kern in Star Trek. the Klingon Kern. If you watch it, go back and watch those episodes. There's little nuances that he brings to that character. It's like little things he does, just kind of like that you would never notice. Just kind of like, just little actions like that he brings to it. The brilliance of that man, the subtlety, the nuance that he brings to what the characters he plays. Even if it's just like it's a Klingon. Oh, I'm a Klingon like this. But the little details.
Yep.
You go back and watch Savini's Night of the Living Dead. Same thing. The same thing that made episodes like DS9's The Visitor and X-Files is Sleepless absolutely phenomenal. So brilliant casting. Tony Todd. So Tony, the legendary Tony Todd, and then everybody, Patricia Tallman was in that as well. There he is.
Yep, there he is.
And I missed his autograph at Texas Primary Weekend. I did get Tom Savini's. I've got that sitting behind me on the wall. I want to ask the audience, which did you prefer, Romero or Savini? Now, it wasn't exactly a shot-for-shot remake, and Savini did kind of make it his own a little bit, but it follows the same storyline. It was a remake of Night of the Living Dead. But I got to ask, this one, Savini's obviously was in color. This was, Romero's was in black and white.
Yep.
So which one did you prefer, the original or the remake?
And Savini's commentary was different. It was about the strong female as opposed to the strong black lead. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's Patricia Tallman. She's going to be strong whatever she does.
Well, no, but it gets turned on its head, right? So at the end of it, you've got the asshole old man, the asshole, what's his name, living until, she says, no, fuck you, Gab, blowing your brains out.
So, yeah, definitely let us know. Let us know in the comments below here in the live chat or at weekinhorror@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think.
I like them both.
I like them both for different reasons. I love the Travis Brown comment here where he talks about how the people were always scarier than ghosts. I agree because they're people. Ghosts can have any kind of they're supernatural, they don't exist or anything. Right. But one of my favorite villains of all time in any horror film is the Strangers because they're just people. Why are you doing this? You were just home.
You were home. Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the thing, right? So you could learn a zombie. A zombie has got one thing on its mind, to eat.
Gotcha.
Whereas a human,
unpredictable.
And of course, we can thank Zack Snyder for introducing the fast zombie to us.
Oh yeah,
thanks
Zack Snyder.
Because at least the zombies in Return of Living Dead and the Night of the Living Dead, at least these Dawn of the Dead, whatever, they're slow.
Well, but they were smart in Return. In Return of the Living Dead, they were smart.
Oh, they were smart, but they weren't like
they knew how to call for extra cops.
They weren't running 5-second 40s like they were in Zack Snyder's movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Did that fucking one-armed zombie turn around?
Climb the fucking wall in that one.
That's that one zombie's like missing an arm, and he turns around and he goes from like, dead fucking sprint.
Yeah.
But fucking A. So, you know what?
Let's just all agree that we would not survive if zombies were actually based on a Zack Snyder film.
No, we would not.
Let's all agree that Zack Snyder's film is 100% fiction because zombies don't move that way.
They actually MIT did a study on if he had a zombie apocalypse, like how would it play out and spread with fast zombies?
Like 6 months.
It said the human population would dip below 100,000, from 7 billion to less than 100,000 in like 6 months.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, and you know what? This whole log allergy situation that's going on there has taught me. Okay, all these people, I don't want to wear masks, I don't want to do this or like this. You know what's taught me? That 40% of the population are the motherfuckers who would get bit and they wouldn't tell you.
And they're the ones that would get you killed.
Right. Yep. Because it's always the fuckers who get bit and think that they can hide it from everybody. It's like, oh shit, well, no, I'm fine. Yeah. Next thing you know,
like Tom Savini did From Dusk Till Dawn.
Right. When you're right in the middle of a freaking firefight, then they're all over you.
Yep. Yeah, because you're like, hey, I was like, you got my back, right? You got my back, and then
that's what fucking got me in Resident Evil. In the third Resident Evil film, fucking Omar. Dang it, not Omar. It's not Omar Epps. It's Mike Epps. Mike Epps' character, the gangster dude from the second film, he gets bit. He gets bit in the chest and doesn't say anything. No, I'm feeling okay. I'm just a little worn out like this. Then he
Because
gets in
it's
the
a shit
car.
movie. It's because it's a shit movie.
I'm convinced
It's a
that
shit
a zombie
movie.
apocalypse would if it happened, we'd be done because 40% of our population are the ones who get bit and they wouldn't say shit to the group.
And fuck us all over, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, I
All
think
right.
it's about that. I think Eugene killed his camera.
No, I'm still here. Yeah.
So I think it's about the time. It is
that time.
It's trivia time. The reason these people hang around and listen to us fucking talk. It's trivia time. Oh,
Trivia time.
We are giving away a limited edition shirt number 4. You can be the first one if nobody's ordered one. You can be the first one to get one for free on us. Limited edition shirt number 4 for the winner of this.
Shit. Where are you at, Eugene?
I'm still here. I got my camera back on.
You messed up your mic.
Oh.
I had to move my mic to fix the camera, so I'll get that.
Okay, so you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I set it up. And I say shit, and you're supposed to say gets real.
Because shit gets real.
All right. Let's do this. Today's trivia question will go first person in the side chat. Let us know. Who was the female host that quit the weekend horror show? Slot paved the way for Cassandra Peterson's character Elvira to reach national recognition and acclaim. Who was the female host that quit the weekend horror show and paved the way for Cassandra Peterson's character Elvira to reach national recognition and acclaim? First person in the old side chat will be the Wiener.
The Wiener. Yes, because there was, I didn't want to mention it. I know how close I got. It started with Sinister Stanley, but there was somebody in between. There. And when they quit, Cassandra got the role and brought Elvira.
Alpha K91, I feel like you know this one.
I know somebody out there's got it.
Yeah, so you got to know it off the top of your head. The first one to comment below will get it. On it.
We could do the name of the character.
I gotta double check that.
Yeah, double check that. I think that's correct.
Oh, wait, nope. There we go.
We're double checking an answer.
Yep.
And it's close.
It's very close. I think
it's close.
I think that's close enough, but that's
close enough?
Really close. I think it's a misspelling, isn't it?
It's a misspelling.
I feel like that counts.
Yeah, I think that counts.
I think that counts. I think I'll go with it.
So we double checked. The judges have decreed, and the George said yes.
Yep.
And it's Mayla. Mayla Nurmi was the name of that actress, and the character that, or you could have also answered the character that she created, which was Vampira.
Yep.
Yeah. Either one is fine.
Yes, either one would have been fine, but yes, it was Mayla Nurmi who created. Yes, and Alpha Canada, you're right. Vampira did precede Elvira. It was Sinister Stanley's show, and after Sinister Stanley died, the producers wanted to revive the show 6 years later. The first person they hired was Mayla Nurmi, who brought her Vampira character. But after a while of doing the show, she decided that she wanted to move along, go further into production, and she wanted them to hire another Vampira to play the role, and the studio balked. It's rumored, not confirmed, rumored that they balked because the woman that Mayla wanted them to hire was black. And so the studio balked at it, and so Mayla quit. So needing a new horror host, they held auditions, and we got Elvira.
Yep.
Wow. All right, well, congratulations. Congratulations, and
the George said,
yes. And the George said, yes. So you'll get your very own shit gets real.
Gets real.
Shit gets real.
Own it, Eugene. Own it.
The shit gets real.
But yes, that was Vampire. Thank you. We had a couple answers. I don't think that was interesting. I don't think people jumped on that. People were, oh wait, no, NA. Florence Henderson.
Yep. That would have been interesting, I gotta say.
Alpha K91 says, "And my Google Foo is full white belt."
Oh no, you were there. You were there.
Yeah,
you were there. Vampire. Yeah, you were correct, Alpha. You were correct.
Yes, Travis. Oh, Travis Brown jumped in. Good to see you, Travis Brown. Says shit always hits.
He says he got his gin.
Oh, he did. Yes, the Wishmaster gin figure. The display should be arriving shortly. Display. There was something weird with the ordering on display. I don't know what happened. I got a weird email from them. So apparently there's a delay in processing payment, and it should be getting. I don't know. It should be getting to you soon. Apparently there's delays all over the place. So hopefully the display from Pandorum. That will be arriving to you shortly. And of course, I do hope that the Red State autograph poster that got out all right. And dang, I forgot about what the other one was.
Oh shit.
That's 3 of them. Red State,
yeah, there's another
Pandorum, Wishmaster.
I hope the 4th gift got there.
I hope the 4th gift got there on time.
Expected.
So
yes. On that.
What the fuck? Oh, Feast.
Yes,
Feast.
Feast.
Yeah, Feast mode. The original one sheet for Feast. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Woo! We're professionals here.
All right. Well, thank you, Haley, for joining us this week. Is there anything coming up or you can let us know about, or any social media where audiences can follow you?
I mean, I have an Instagram. It's Hair by Hayley Mac, HALEYMAC, all one word. Mostly, you know, I actually have a project with Eugene coming up, so that'll be fun. And I just did one recently with another friend of ours called Bunko, but we'll kind of see where that goes.
It's a nice eye removal on that one too.
Yeah, I brought in a real eyeball for that, so that was kind of cool. I'm sure I'll jump on some other stuff as it comes along to me. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see her work in Nail Gun. I know we've shown the trailer here a couple of times and the full length one in Discord. So
the only reason why I was allowed to be in this film is because Haley made me look not like I do normally. So.
I remember having to reapply your makeup because it was so warm in there.
It was yeah. It wasn't just a little spackle.
His day was nowhere compared to the rest of the days, though. No,
yeah,
no, there was AC there.
And I would like to let everybody know. Jinju says Haley needs to come back often.
Thank you.
Yes, we will have her back.
All right. So one thing I will say this to all of our patrons out there. If you are a member of our patron family. The behind the scenes video for Nail Gun has been linked into the patron announcements page. You can go there and you can check out the behind the scenes video, which you see plenty of Haley's work.
Yep.
As she's doing it on set. Yep. So yeah, definitely.
And you get to see my elbow.
You do. You can see. Yeah, there you go. So definitely, if you want to see her, in action, you want to see Haley in action.
Yes.
All of our patrons, it's available there. We will make that available to the rest of our viewers as soon as we can. But our patrons get first glimpse of that because, of course, we wouldn't have Nail Gun if it wasn't for our patrons. So,
very true. Very true.
All right. My goodness. Yeah. And we're going to be doing a little bit afterwards, right? So
that's right. Yes. And we will. Of course, afterwards, we will be diving further in. We'll be doing the After Dark session. We will be diving further into Haley's career, her inspirations, thoughts for the horror genre, what she wants to do. We'll be going big in there, asking her all kinds of interesting questions, getting all nice and intimate like. So you can look forward to that. To the members of our Possessed tier patrons, you will get early access to that on Patreon. Then, of course, a month later, will be available to everyone else. So we look forward to that After Dark session.
Light some candles.
Mm-hmm. Get in there nice and deep black. I always think
that was creepy as fuck, JL.
I'm sorry. You know Dodgeball.
I do. I know.
We only have one customer. It's that creepy guy in a truck. He keeps having just to wash his truck.
He's like touching his belly button.
Yeah.
They're nice deep
like.
No, I got the reference. I'm over here talking about lighting the mood and whatnot, and little Rome and Jail's like, fucking get up in there.
Straight 180. Straight 180.
Get her done.
Get her done, goddammit.
I mean, come on. I wish I had that hat. I'm a giver.
You can get that hat. It's on Amazon.
That was it. That was
I know
Dale's
someone who
hat.
can make it. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Sweet.
All right. And that brings this season 3 premiere of the Weekend Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we look back at Lamberto Dave's Demons, the psycho animal horror Shakma, the made-for-television horror Vampire, and the psychological horror Saint Maud. It's like Maud, but horror. We'd like to send a special shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us make the show the success it has become. Thank you all so much. Also, be sure to check out Josh Olsen's new store, badsamurai.store. Josh does all the amazing artwork for our limited t-shirts, all of our stuff. Does some really awesome designs, and go pick up a shirt. Help him out. Show him some love.
Fucking A. He's got some great stuff on there. I really love his it's the Ghost King or the Undead Army from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He's got the king that he did on one of his shirts. It looks fantastic. So I love his
He is
artwork.
amazing artist. Do be sure to visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find all links to our episodes, our bios, our merch store, Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All followers get our daily splatter, which is just a little bit of horror info each day right into your feed. You never know what little tidbits of information you may discover. Subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head. Hey. For all the latest updates from the show. We really hope you enjoy the
wasn't intentional at all.
Not at all. That was that's what Bob Ross calls a happy accident.
Wait, that's what my mom called me.
Oh. That's
and
funny.
90% of people are accidents anyway. So
my father called me the sheepskin that failed.
My little latex buster.
Oh, man, goddamn it. You know how they say 99% effective? Well, just consider yourself a 1% there, buddy. All right. So we really hope you enjoyed the new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. So be sure to leave us a comment below, as the interactions really help us with that horrific, dreaded algorithm. He's the one who invented the internet. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like and are able to support our production, you can do so through Patreon. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. You'll get bonus and exclusive content and horror films in every month for our highest tiers. So get on in there and have some fun. However, if you prefer, you can support the show directly through our PayPal as well. Links to all that, including our Discord.
He's never read this before.
I've never read this before. Links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact directly with us, are in the description. Get on in there, have some fun. And while the country is kind of recovering, although who knows what's going on, man.
I gotta find a way to write that.
We're
the country's doing something.
The country is doing something. I think we're signing up for zombie apocalypse right now. Anyway, we know that things are still pretty tight for many people. So simply commenting, liking, sharing this on the old social medias, Twitter, Facebook, with all your friends in your local horror community is the absolute best way to help us continue to grow. Thank you all for being the greatest audience a podcast could have. As always, I'm Johnny O.
And I'm Eugene.
And I'm JL.
We'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.
To Week in Horror.
That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
So close. So close.
God damn it. I knew it.